RebelRooster modeling viewers, it's good old Terry, and I picked me up a can of that Revell Chrome spray. I don't know if you caught it. Chrome. I guess that's how they spell chrome in Euroese. But anyway, let's check this stuff out and see if it's worth all the hubbub. Okay, let's talk the basics here. I'll start with the bad news. The bad news is this is not, oops, it's not right side up. It's not cheap. So it's a little bit of an investment when you buy it. But we'll talk a little bit more about the paint itself. I assumed, being from Revell, I assumed two things. One, and don't shoot at me here, but I assumed it was junk because it's Revell. And I'm sorry, but you know, anyway, I assumed that it was not going to be very good stuff, and I assumed it was going to be an enamel, maybe a lacquer. And after I had done a fair amount of testing on it, I noticed this little word acrylic right there, and I was just, I wasted about 45 minutes of my life testing things I could have foregone. All of which were failures because I wasn't testing it as an acrylic. But anyway, that's your basic spray can. It's not really big. It's about the size of the Tamiya surface primer cans. Okay, so it's not a full spray can size, nor is it a mini size. Something good about it though is the type of lid, spray nozzle you get on it. It's the kind where the hole is inside here, and what this does for you is you can go to your local craft store, or you can order it from, I think Testers still makes them, but they do have a set of these tops that come in different colors, and they color code them according to the spray pattern. I think the widest is 4 inches, and then it narrows all the way down to 1/2 inch. So if you're somebody who's not going to decant this stuff, and you really just want to use it right out of the can, realize that it's expensive-o, and I would definitely invest in getting those different size tips so you're not losing as much paint to overspray on it, okay? And that's about it for the basics on it. So let's talk about the results and see how it went. Now from the start, once I found the word acrylic on it, I assumed that you could use acrylic thinner on it. So the first thing I did was I put X20 on it, X20A. And as you can see very plainly right here, it didn't even paint it. It separated and it stuck to the sides of the dropper, and it did not even come out. It didn't mix at all. It stuck to the bottom of the cup. It looked like it was mixed, but it wasn't, and it separated in the airbrush, and it didn't even come out at all. So that was a big fail there. So my next step was, let's see what's in it. So I took a look at the back, and I looked for all the, there's like 10 languages on here seemingly, I guess, but I saw acetone, so I thought, hey, must have acetone in it, maybe it'll thin with acetone. So I next tried acetone, and as you can see, very glossy. However, and I don't know if the camera's showing you, it's really just a gloss gray silver looking color. It doesn't have any chrome or metallic appeal to it. It's very reflective. It's not going to see because the shadow I'm casting, but it does reflect beautifully. It reflects nicely what you can see on a gray platform, but it just looks like a super glossy gray like you would see on an aircraft that was painted gray and then glossed over to look like metal, but not like some of the later B-29s, I guess, huh? So my next step was to try it out as directed, right from the can. Convert centimeters to inches and all that stuff, and follow the directions and use it as directed. So going right from the can now, you can see with Mr. Camera here that I'm so good at, it's looking chromy, but I don't know, man. It didn't turn out beautifully. I've seen other people use it and watch their channels. They got a good job. Perhaps it's because I live in hell's armpit and it's 100 and a million degrees already. But as you can see, it's very flaky and not sharp, not good on the contrast. It took a very long time to dry. I think it's dry now. I sprayed this around 30 hours ago. So this is the look we've got on it on these 3 tests. Now, what I decided to do at this point was to try good old Mr. Leveling Thinner here and a couple others. So let's see how those turned out. Okay, so I noticed when I was washing my hands, and generally what I do when I'm painting is I wash them with 99% IPA. I noticed that the paint came, it just flew off my hands beautifully, so easily, it was unbelievable. So I figured, hey, if this cleans it off my hands that well, let's try and thin it with IPA. And by the way, what I did at this point was I decanted it. I took it out of the can and I decanted it. And I think I should show you now what it looks like when you open it. Daggone, I need my gripper here because this dried itself shut. There we go. So anyway, sorry for the bump into the camera there. I don't know if you can see this. It looks like mercury in there. It's on the top. But I don't know if you can see this on the camera because of my crummy camera work, and I probably shook this a little bit, but when you look at it very closely in the jar, it looks very, very, well, it looks bad. It separates and makes these huge flakes. I shouldn't say flakes, they're more like spots in there. And it just looks like there's no way in the world this is going to be shiny. Then you open up the bottle and you look in there and you see this. It looks like, well, I don't know a better way to put it. It looks like chrome. So I decided to try to thin it first with IPA, and it did mix. It did mix beautifully. I put it in my airbrush, HPCS. I wanted HPCS, about 18 psi. And I sprayed from about, I'm going to say about 3-4 inches away. Probably closer to 3. And it came out looking like so. And I'll also point out here that, you know, when I do my metal work, those of you who know me, I always polish my plastic when I do my metal work. So that little P doesn't mean I peed in my pants. It means I polished the plastic here. So there it is. Let's zoom out and see. And now you can see that we've got the same problem we had before with the acetone. And that is, it's just a grayish silver looking. Now it is a bit more silver on this one, but it still doesn't convince me that it's metal. And the main enemy here isn't really the color and the tone, because I do like the, let me zoom in and see if I can get this for you. I do like the look of it. It has the grain that metal does. It's not perfectly symmetrical, but it's pretty darn close. But because it is so, I don't want to say thick because it's not thick, but it's so glossy that it doesn't look like metal anymore. It looks again like metal, well done metal lacquer paint that's not metal, just made to look the right color. So my next step was to take it and cut it with Mr. Leveling Thinner. And I did this at 50-50, half and half. And again, sprayed about 18 psi, about 3 inches away, and it came out looking quite a bit better. Now you can see the reflection. You can see my face, which I apologize for. Now you're gonna have nightmares. But some spots are like super chromy and great, and then other spots are kind of cloudy and hazy. But I did like what it did. You can see a beautiful reflection. I mean, here's my hand. My hand's probably about 12 inches away. Here's the pointing pencil. You can see how far this will take it. As far back as I go, it'll take it. So I liked this. This looked good. So what I thought I would do is repeat the test, but this time I didn't polish the plastic. I just did the same thing with IPA and Mr. Leveling Thinner, and I got very similar results. Again, this one was just a gray, silver looking gloss, kind of like you'd get from Tamiya lacquers. Tamiya lacquer colors, like their gloss aluminum. Very similar to their gloss aluminum. If you have that, you got your yardstick. This one, this side now looked a lot better. This is odd. I did not polish this plastic, but this came out really nice. Look at, you can see the camera reflecting on it. You can see pointing pencil away, the ever-living hell out here. You can see my bench. You can see my garage door. You can see the roof light. You can see me. You can see it. So it is super chromy reflecty. Really pretty darn decent stuff. And so what I decided here was, let's now see how far we could push it. I sprayed just a little differently this time. I sprayed it a little heavier. So what I did was I used the gloss paint, because usually when I do metals, I do very thin coats and build it up because you're afraid to lose the metallic look of it. But a chrome look and a metallic look are very different animals. So what I decided to do this time was to, again, decant it, and I would try it with Mr. Rapid Thinner. And so here's what I got with Mr. Rapid Thinner. Again, a really nice, pretty nice, very shiny, reflective, but not quite what I'd call chrome. So I went further, and I decanted it, and again used Mr. Leveling Thinner this time. Same ratio, 50-50, about, I dialed it down about 15-16 psi. Same distance, about 3 inches away, and the same airbrush, an Iwata HPCS. And what I did was I sprayed it straight onto bare plastic. This is a monogram 40 scale Kingfisher. And what I did was I did the gloss black method. I put some GX2 under it. Got it nice and glossy. And I gave it about 20 minutes to dry. You know, remember, I'm in Hell's Armpit. It dries fast here. It's a desert. And then I sprayed the chrome, the Revell Chrome on there with the same method I sprayed the GX2, which is a light tack sticky coat. And then I sprayed it till it was wet, till it looked wet, okay? And here's what it came out. Now this looks like chrome, all right? Very chromy, very wet looking. I was afraid to touch it for a long time. I did this again about 30 hours ago, roughly. And this is, actually, you know what, I told you a lie. I'm looking at my markings. Only half of it has the GX2 on, and the other half doesn't. So you can see if you spray it good and wet, and this is about 4 coats, 4 wet coats. I put it on really thick, and it snugged down really nicely. But this is the first paint to actually look like chrome. And I think, and it's really, I hope the camera's catching just how nice this is. Reflects like nothing, like nobody's business. Let me see if I could get the can to show on here. Yeah, kind of. It's hard with the angles because the way it's designed, but this actually pleased me for a chrome paint. So far as appearance goes, I'm going to call this a win. Really good reflection, good depth. I tried my pigment rub on it. It won't take it. It's too smooth. This stuff is ultra smooth. And unlike a lot of metal paints, it will cover up minor surface flaws. I got a few shallow scratches on this kit because it's in a box. It's been in a box for probably 30 years. And it had a lot of micro scratches on it, and it filled them in nicely. Probably because I put it on so thick, but it doesn't have the gloppy look. So now let's talk about putting it to the test. We're going to give it a scratch test, and we're going to test some decal fluids on it. This has not been clear coated at all. So you are going to see LIVE pre-recorded here, scratch test and some decal fluid tests. So stand by, I'll get my stuff out. Okay, first let's do stupid, okay? There's that guy out there somewhere. We all know him. We might be him. Who's going to try to cement a chromed part together? So let's take a little to me extra thin, since that's a cement that 99% of us use. And let's see how it holds up to a little touch of to be extra thin. I think we know already what's going to happen here, okay? But because good old Terry just has to do it, let's wipe it on there and see what happens. And oh my goodness, a big shocker, it ruins it. Okay, so boys and girls, we know that. We knew it before we started, but we just had to do it for the sake of doing it. Now, let's do a tape test. I'm going to get some Tamiya tape here. And I'm going to do the dumb thing that sometimes people do. I'm going to put it on there, and I'm going to rub it good and hard. And I am going to remove it the dumb way. I'm going to yank it off. Now, here's something interesting. I don't know if you can see this. There appears to have been a chemical reaction there. Let me try this again. There appears to be a chemical reaction there. Is it my fingertip? Yeah, that's my fingertip. It's my freaking prid from my thumb. All right, well, anyway, for the sake of making darn sure that that's actually what it is, I'm going to try to rub it on with something else here. I'll put it on there across. And let's see if I rub it on with the back of my toothbrush here. Rub it on good. Let's really make it stick, because we're dumb. Yeah, that was my prid doing that, not the tape. Okay. Emergency contained. Let's pull it off the dumb way, straight back. Good durability there. Let me pick this bug up with the rest of the tape. Bye, bug. I hate bugs. Anyway, so there we go with that. Let's try something a little stronger. Let's use cheap washi tape, which has, this stuff is the long tube you get at the hobby store. It's closed on Sundays. This is the strong tube, and the tube of all the multicolor ones. This has a stronger adhesive. It's not as friendly. Let's give that a yank. And held on. That little thing you see here, that's my prid from my thumb. So, tape test is good. Now, hang on a second. Let me give you something to look at. Here, look at my toothbrush a minute while I go get my gaffer's tape. Hang on a second. Okay, I'm still here. You're still there. Here comes good old Terry with his gaffer's tape. For those of you who don't know what gaffer's tape is, just think of Gorilla Tape, the black tape. Make it a little more clothy, a little more adhesive, and you got gaffer's tape. It is the strongest tape I've ever seen in my life. It's rough stuff, man. So let's have some fun here and see if we can take it off with the gaffer's tape. I'll bet you we can. I could take decals off with this stuff, man. So let's see what happens. Rip. Wow, I took it off, but not horribly. I'm almost proud. Okay, well, there we go. Pretty darn durable. Takes the tape test. Now remember, this has only been drying 30 hours. This is pretty, I would let this dry, guys, really. Give it a good 2 days. Let me see if I can rub off my Prid, or if that's kind of found a home there. It's kind of found a home, it looks like. So, isn't that interesting? Something as mild as Prid, which heals, kind of messes up your chrome. So, now that we've done that, let's get the fuselage piece out that we had. And try it on there. I'll do that, how about right here on the cowl? I'll use the back of my knife to rub it down. Get it down there good and firm. Rip it off. I can't tell if that's a spray mess up or if that's from the tape rip, but when you do this, you can see it's still there. It's still there, and I don't see anything on the back of the tape. So, actually maybe a very fine film of it. But the good news is, you could, and I tried this, I got a spot and spray repaired it, and it came on nicely. So you can wet spray it to repair. So the tape test, I'm gonna give that a solid okay. Now, let's try the scratching test, okay? We'll start with the wing. Let's try my toothbrush here. This is a medium strength toothbrush, you know, medium bristle. Where I had put the tape, you can see inside where I ripped the tape here, you can see some very fine scratching. Let's try it on the pontoon here, huh? We'll do that right here. I'll give it a good scrub. Unaffected. Okay, no effect there. Let's try pointing pencil. We'll use this one for that initially. Use the leading edge. Well, it colors it, but it doesn't seem to have scratched it. Let's try it on the pontoon. Now rub it off. You can see when you rub it, it loses some of its gloss there, see? So I wouldn't try to, I would not recommend you guys try to buff this stuff if you have the urge. I mean, it's still quite reflective, but you can see it's lost a lot of its charm there, huh? So it's not something you're gonna want to handle a lot unless you got white gloves on or paper towel or something. So, okay. Or maybe it increases durability with time sitting. Next, toothpick, and I think we know what's going to happen here, which is what happens with 99% of the paints out there. And that's, it scratches it with a sharp toothpick, like pretty much every paint in the world except the hardest of lacquers. Okay, so pretty durable. I mean, you can handle it casually, and it's all right, you know, holds up. But the tape does a little effect to it. Rubbing it with your finger with any sort of aggression kind of messes it up. Now again, this is, I put this on really thick. This is like 4 or 5 coats. So who knows, if I let it sit another few days, it might be rock hard. I don't know. But so far, I'm pretty pleased with it. Now, let's do this. Let's go to the decal fluids. And in the lineup, we have the most commonly used fluids that are out there. Got Mr. Mark Setter, Mr. Mark Decal and Kit Ruiner. This isn't the right bottle, but Solvaset. Mark Fit Strong, Mark Fit Super Strong, Microset, Microsol. Let's give all of these a try now. Okay. Let's start out with Microset. It's probably the mildest of the 3. Rub a little bit of that on here, and we'll start with the pontoon and work our way across here. I'll just put that up here. Rub it on there, let it set a while. It's sitting on top of it. Doesn't seem, let me put a little more on there. It smells like a delicious pickle juice. So basically it looks like it just sits on there and doesn't do anything to it. So that's kind of expected. So let me get another clean pink brush here. I got a bunch of these dental brushes. Okay. All right, let's get Micro Sol. Stronger stuff. We'll go to the next section of pontoon. Let's wipe that on there and see what happens. And oh yeah, Micro Sol definitely has an effect on it. Pretty aggressive. So, all right, we know Micro Sol is going to hurt it. Next up, get another brush. Let's go to me and Mark Fit Strong. I can use our own brush actually. And let's take that to this section here. It's appearing to do something to it, you can see. Let's see what happens if I blot it out. Yeah, and it does do a job on it. So to me, Mark Fit Strong does something to it. So I think we know what's going to happen here, but let's just do it anyway. Super strong. Oh yeah. That didn't take long, did it? Super strong. There we go. Now, Solvacet. Let's take a little Solvacet here. And I think I know what's going to happen there. Yep, sure enough. That did it to it. Now let's take Mr. Mark Setter. Oops, oh, that has a brush too. I can use its own brush again. I think I know what's going to happen here. Sure enough. Sure enough, rough stuff. That did a job on it too. Now, my favorite decal fluid to hate, but I do find a use for it here and there. Mr. Mark Softer, which actually is Mr. Mark Destroyer. You can see that didn't take long either to do a job on it and ruin it. So let's blot these off. Wow, you can see whatever the hell I put here. Softer, Setter, Solvacet. Solvacet actually took the paint off completely. So there's our decal fluids. Our safety zone is Microset. All right. Then the second least harmful would be Micro Sol. And all the others are just too aggressive. So there's our decal setting solutions. So there's our durability test. Now let me show you what I like about this stuff a lot. I'm going to cut myself some napkin here. And I'm going to get my 99% alcohol. And let me show you this. This is what I like about it. We totally screwed it up, let's say, all right? Let's say we totally screwed this up. Now look at that. Now, we've got a nice blue, unpainted pontoon that easily. Let me just dry it off. Now, right back to the kit, see? Right back to the kit. This stuff comes off beautifully. So, should you bone it, very easy to repair. And this is also a perfect time to give a little demonstration to you of how I sprayed it. And let's hope that I don't make a fool of myself by not being able to replicate it, but let's do it. Let's pull this down. I'll turn on my airbrush. I've got 16 to 18 pounds here. And here's my bottle of it, my jar. I'm gonna shake this up really good. You get a cup. You shake this up really good and get a cup. And I'm going to put some Mr. Leveling-O here. I'm going to put about that exact much there. I'll show it to you in a sec. Okay. Here's about how much I put in there. You can see it. About a quarter. Tilt it 45 degrees. Turn it towards you about a quarter of the way up. Whatever percentage that makes it. And I'm going to shake this ball up really good. I stuck some steel balls in there. And you see, it doesn't look like anything special, does it? It just looks like... So you can already see through there the paint on the other side. Let's see if I can tilt this a little better for you. I really want you to see what this looks like, how bad this looks in the jar. You see, it just looks like sandy, crappy crud when you decant it. But let me show you what happens when you mix this and spray it. All right? I'm not putting anything like a nice gloss black on it or anything. I'm just going to shoot it right onto the plastic. All right? This is about 50-50. And you can see in there already. Oops, let me tilt this where you can see. All right? You can see how, yeah, it looks like that cop on Terminator 2, doesn't it? Pretty creepy. I'm just going to mix it up with the pipette. This looks like that creepy cop on Terminator 2. All right, so I got it in the airbrush cup. And now I'm going to turn my fan on. Cover your ears, folks. There's my little sticky coat. Now I'm going to make a wet coat. Just to show you can overspray it, I'm going to hit that cowl, and you can see, flawless repair job. We just hit this pontoon again with yet another wet coat. I mean, I don't know, I'm sorry to spray off camera, I have to kind of see what I'm doing here too, right? But, here we go. Turn my fan off. I sprayed over that cowl again so you can see that it's very easy to spray over it and repair things. And look at the pontoon. See? It's that easy. It's ridiculously easy to do this right. Oh, here's another opportunity right there. Let me just kind of mix that up again. And I'll do a spot repair right here on this little area that I messed up a little bit. Right there, you can see it. You can see right before your eyes. There it is. It's done. I done repaired it. It's all done. And you can do this all day long. One coat won't ruin the next. It just keeps going well. Let me turn my fan back on. I'm choking here. All right. So, there you have it. Nice stuff. Turn that off again. You can see the green matte reflecting off it, everything around here. This really comes off it nicely. It really is good stuff. So let's wrap up and I'll tell you goodnight. Okay, so let's do the wrap up here. The new Revell Chrome. Really nice looking stuff. Really nice. It looks like chrome. Really does. And I've seen a lot of them buy the stuff at the auto body shops, and it just doesn't really look like, when you put on the model, it just doesn't look like chrome. It's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty bad stuff, but this is pretty good. I like it. Pretty good. Now, Really quickly before we go, best way to use it for me, hands down, was to decant it 50-50 cut with Mr. Leveling Thinner and about 16-inch PSI up nice and close. A quick coat to make it sticky, and then wet coats. And let it dry a long time. I'm in the desert, man, and it's summer, it's hot, and it still took 30 hours to get durability. Now, that's just because that's where I got tired of waiting. I don't know if I let it go another 12 hours, it might have been as, you know, as hard as my head and stand up to anything, but it didn't stand up to the decal fluids, and I think that that's not going to matter how long you let it sit, because that's more of a chemical thing than a durability really thing. So the Mr. Mark softer was pretty okay. The setter was, and everything else was just too strong for it. I wouldn't clear coat it because it really just doesn't need it. So I don't know, if you're going to put decals over it, you might try it. I didn't try any clear coats because I just didn't want to steal anything from its look. It might look just as good after some aqua gloss or something. I don't know. But I will beat you with a wet noodle if you put Future on it. Anyway, look, is it worth the 28 bucks a can? I mean, you got to ask yourself, what's 28 bucks worth to you? You know what I mean? If you're a lawyer, doctor, or an Indian chief, 28 bucks is nothing. You know, it's nothing. If you're a regular working Joe, 28 bucks isn't, you know, petty cash. So my opinion is, if you decant it, it's worth the 28 bucks. Or if you get the little tips that you can shoot not so much paint out, probably worth it. If you're just going to get something little and just, oh, let's make this shiny, it's a lot of money, you know. But used properly and in the right applications, yeah, I think it's worth the 28 bucks. But it's not for everything, in my opinion. I'm an aircraft guy, man. 99.1265 repeating decimal percent of what I do is aircraft. So I don't have a whole lot of applications for it. I like my metal to look like metal, not chrome. Yeah, chrome is metal, but chrome and aluminum look completely different. What I'll use this for, maybe as an aircraft builder, if you're a lazy model, and I don't mean this like, you know, basic modeling skills or any other snob crap. I say if you're a lazy modeler who just likes to get something done, hit it once, and I'm done. This would be great for like an F-86, you know, an F-86 Sabre maybe, or a showroom restored Mustang perhaps, if you like the chrome look. I mean, this is really, that's bright. That's awfully bright and reflective. That looks like chrome. It's like a nice new bumper on a car. But again, I like my metal to look like metal. So to you, that might be pleasing to your eye. And that's fine. Maybe try a little thin layer of smoke over it to darken it, maybe. I don't know. I haven't gone that far into the test. But as an aircraft guy, that's about all I use it for. Shiny showroom aircraft or a fairly new F-86, something like that. I wouldn't put it on a Mustang, I don't think. Maybe. I don't know. Mustang's got some nice curves. That might tone it down a little bit. But who's going to love this stuff are you car guys. Your fenders, your wheels, if you got the lowriders with the little chain steering wheels, you know, you're going to love this stuff. Because, you know, when you buy a model car, and I've only had like one in my life, and that's that cursed Johan ambulance, which I finished. I'll tell you all about that another time. But anyway, they come pre-chromed with the fenders, and I hate that. It just looks cheesy and doesn't look good. You'll love this on there. You'll wipe that crap off, put this on it, and you're going to be pleased. So you car builders are going to love this stuff. You armor losers have no use for this because everything you do is old and beat up. Boat people, I don't know much about them. But yeah, 28 bucks. The Revell Chrome. Revell finally put something out that I liked. It's not the strongest stuff in the world, but again, like I said, with more time to dry, it might toughen up. But chemically, it's fragile like most acrylics are. So I hope this helped you out. That's just my opinion on it, so take it as fact. In the meantime, I'm putting some more videos together on other things that I've been up to lately. So I'll let you go now. Thanks for tuning in. God love you, and happy modeling. My button ain't working.